Welcome to Cups and Courage. Today's guest is Carly. And Carly was diagnosed when she was 37 with triple negative breast cancer. And she also has the BRCA gene mutation. Cups and Courage, the podcast. Carly, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
We just said we've seen each other a few times, but actually sitting down and actually taking the time to have a cup of tea and have a conversation, I'm really looking forward to this.
Me too. Yeah.
Firstly, I'm going to have a look at what biscuits you've brought. They feel heavy.
Yeah, I mean...
Hang on.
I don't eat dairy, I should add. So
okay.
Yeah.
So these are non-dairy.
Non-dairy, delicious biscuits.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going for it. It's
okay.
chocolate chip.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Or chocolate non-dairy
like salted caramel chocolate chip. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, lovely. Are you vegan?
No, but I don't eat dairy and meat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah.
So I'm similar.
I think I'm dairy-free pescatarian. Is that what we are?
Oh, so I'm
to?
just I'm looking at the inside of that biscuit.
I know it's melting on my fingers.
Oh my gosh.
It's good. Yeah.
Oh, well, you've won me over already. Okay. So the second thing we do, kind of as a consistent theme, is we ask our guests what their own definition of courage is. So I'm going to pose that question to you off the cuff.
Just a big...
Just a subtle one.
Yeah, a little question to start the conversation. What is my definition of courage? Oh, I think it's... it doesn't have to be loud. It can be quite quiet courage. I think my definition is that it lies within all of us. And sometimes we can feel we don't necessarily have it, but when it's needed, it is there and it can help you to get through difficult times. It can push you forward to try new things. It allows you to step out of your comfort zone. But ultimately, I think, it can be like a quiet, internal friend to everyone.
I find it easier to talk about courage if I frame it with my children.
Oh, I love that one.
You know what I mean? Because I think courage can take different shapes for us and depending on what we've been through and different experiences. But if I'm trying to talk about what courage means, if I'm, talking to my kids, I sometimes find it easier.
So what do you say?
I say that. But it's in its simplest forms of getting back up and having a go when actually sometimes it'd be easier not to do it, But it's that innate thing that's within all of us and doing the tricky thing.
Yeah, I think it's that thing, and I don't know if you had this. It's when people say, "Oh my God, you're so brave. I could not do that." And what I feel is like everyone, you can, and that's the thing about courage is it's there for us to call on when we need it, and that is different for everyone. Those times when you might need it. Some people might need it because they're terrified of interacting with people. So a conversation in the shop might take courage for them, whereas someone else might need courage to jump out of a plane,
Yes.
Ultimately, it is there to help us along our way, which is why I think it's like an internal friend.
Yes, I think we have. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to pass the baton over to you, and if you don't mind, can you just give us a quick overview of your own cancer journey?
Yeah. Okay, so I always have to start by talking about my mum because she had breast cancer. She was diagnosed with primary breast cancer when I was 22. She was 54, and she died of secondary breast cancer when she was 59 and I was 27. But on top of that, her mum had already died of breast cancer before I was born. So for me and my story, breast cancer was such a big part of my life already, even before I was diagnosed. I feared it hugely. I had supported my mum, you know, at the end of her life, and seen how that unfolded, and was doing awareness campaigns even before my own diagnosis. So breast cancer was something I was really, really familiar with, let's say. It wasn't, you know, over there. It was here.
Did you ever, at that point, so at this point, you haven't got cancer yourself, but obviously it's surrounding your world. Did you ever reflect on whether or not that it would hit you, it would impact you?
I always thought it would.
Did you?
Yeah, but I didn't think it would at 37.
Okay.
So I definitely thought it would. And so I checked. I was familiar with all of that stuff. But I kind of naively thought I had time. And actually what happened is, what my diagnosis was is totally nothing to do with my kind of family history on my mum's side of the family. I was 37. I was on a chemo ward with my big sister, who is my half sister on my dad's side of the family. She was going through treatment for stage 4 ovarian cancer, and she had discovered she carried the BRCA1 gene mutation, which, for anyone listening, we all have BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes within us. And for some people, they're a bit faulty. Well, they are faulty. And that means that you're more likely to get cancer, certain cancers like breast, ovarian, I want to say pancreatic, potentially prostate. But breast and ovarian is very, very much increased. So when she was diagnosed at 43 with late stage ovarian cancer, she was tested for BRCA because of her age. So she found out she had it. I found out in August 2019 that she had it, which means that we all might have it. There's 5 of us, brothers and sisters. And it was likely to be on my dad's side of the family, they said immediately, because he is of Ashkenazi Jewish heritage. And it's very increased in Jewish populations that you might carry these gene mutations. So I was going to test, but life was busy. It was August. Then it was kids back to school, life. And so it got to November. I'm with my sister on the chemo ward, and I feel a swelling under my armpit, and it was painful. And I just remember going like, oh, what is that? Feeling this swelling and being like, oh, not worrying, but being like, typical. I would find something on a chemo ward of all places. Got my sister to feel. She asked her nurse who was giving her the chemo that day to have a feel. And her nurse went, because of your mum, your history on your mum's side of the family, because of BRCA
on dad's side.
On dad's side, although we hadn't confirmed it yet, but it was likely. She was like, go to the GP, check it out. I managed to get an appointment that day with my GP, which was, is amazing. It's not often that happens. Went along, they felt 3 swollen lymph nodes under my armpit. Nothing to feel within the breast by hand, but said, we're going to kind of fast track you for an ultrasound. And actually, it was the following week I went for my ultrasound. They saw something on my left breast, and obviously lots of chunky lymph nodes, and then an MRI, and found out I had triple negative breast cancer. Very quickly, it was very fast. I did have private insurance. So once my GP said you need an ultrasound, I went via my insurance. It was a week. It took 1 week from finding my swelling to finding out I had a diagnosis. And then it was another week to find out whether it had spread. Thankfully, it hadn't spread further than my lymph nodes, but it was stage 2, grade 3, triple negative breast cancer, which is an aggressive form of breast cancer. And is quite common with BRCA. So it was likely I had BRCA. And at that point I was like, oh, I definitely will carry this mutation as well. But didn't find out until March 2020.
Okay.
It takes time.
Wow.
Sorry.
That's a lot of cancer.
I know. It is a lot of cancer.
In very close kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had a lumpectomy?
No. So because of being diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, it's a very aggressive form. So this is, again, I thought I really knew about breast cancer because of my mum and her mum, and doing, awareness around it. I didn't know. I just didn't realize how many different types of breast cancer there were, how many different routes you could go. Like, not everybody has lumpectomy, not everybody has mastectomies, like not everybody has chemo, not everybody has immunotherapy, which I had. Like, there's so many different things depending on your diagnosis, your stage. So what happened with me is they treat you with chemotherapy first.
Yes.
They kind of like, throw everything at it treatment wise. Because triple negative is not fed by hormones. It's not, there's no estrogen or progesterone involved. So you can't take any of these like drugs afterwards that block the estrogen. Yes. They don't really know what feeds it. It's not fed by anything. That's why it's negative, like triple negative. Nothing is going on with your hormones, with the Herceptin. I don't know what that's called actually, but do you know what I mean? Yeah. So they just throw all the treatment at it in the hope that you'll respond. And then because I'm BRCA, I had a double mastectomy. So on my left side, which had the cancer, obviously that would be a mastectomy anyway, but they also give you a bilateral mastectomy because I have such an increased chance of it coming back, and that's just to reduce my risk. So one breast I removed even though it was healthy.
Yes, understand.
Yeah. And I actually had reconstruction with my own tummy tissue. So I refer to these as my tummy tits.
Tummy tits.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It was that or belly boobs. I remember at the time it was August 2020. I love alliteration. I was like, what can they be called? But tummy tits just felt a bit more me.
And this is DIEP.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So it's officially called a DIEP reconstruction, which is actually the letters of the big vein that they remove.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Or blood vessel, not vein. Sorry, blood vessel. Yeah, I can't tell you what it stands for. It's like deep inferior something.
I'm impressed.
I do a lot of work in the breast surgery field, and actually last night I was at a show and tell event in London where a plastic surgeon was talking, and she said it. So it's a bit fresher in my head, but I still couldn't tell you what it exactly stands for.
I get it.
But yeah, they basically remove your tummy tissue along with this blood vessel that kind of keeps that alive, and they remove all the breast tissue, and then they kind of put it back in with your tummy and connect the blood vessel back up, and it's unbelievable.
So this was
just an amazing surgery.
Yeah, for sure. 2020 this was. Yeah. Immediate reconstruction. And how are you now? How are the tummy tits now?
They're great.
Great.
They feel very much a part of me.
Okay.
I had obviously lymph nodes removed as well. Often I think that's kind of like the forgotten bit of it, and actually sometimes the trickier bit. Like that is the bit that still causes me a bit of
me too
discomfort and awareness of that, of all that stuff going on in the armpit.
I don't know about you. There's sensation I don't have. There's a proportion of my arm. There is no feeling whatsoever.
Nothing. Yeah, absolutely nothing around that area.
Yeah, and from a healing point of view, I think because of the incision space, and again, everyone's different, but I think that's where some of the limiting kind of, from a rehabilitation perspective anyway, range-wise, that's where I felt the most pain and awkwardness, and your body rubs against it all the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you're right. It's almost a secondary thought,
because it's I think it is, but also it's the thing that further on, once you're healed from your mastectomy, and obviously because of the DIEP, I have a hip to hip abdominal scar as well, and that was a lot of healing because it's your core and it's a big surgery but ultimately the lymph just carries on, because once you've had some lymph nodes removed, you're always at risk of lymphedema. That never goes away. And yeah, like you say, I can do everything. I feel when I work out now, I don't feel limited by what I've had done to my body. It's been, over 5 years since my surgery. But it just is always like, oh, I'm aware of that. Yep. Oh, I'm aware of that. So yeah, it's but ultimately I'm good, and this body is great. And in February, I will be 5 years since all my treatment finished. Cheers.
Yes.
Which is a huge milestone with triple negative, because with that type of cancer, it's quite common if it's going to recur. Yes. It happens quite quickly.
5 years is a big deal. Every year is a big deal.
Yeah.
But I think the further it goes, I had 3 primary diagnoses, 2 recurrence, 1 primary diagnosis within 3 years of each other, and then but it'll be 4 years in December since, and so it is that the longer, we all just have to hope, don't we, really? But the longer we get to, and I do hear this 5 years, this kind of magical number, so rock on February, you can have a party.
Oh, I really want to, but it takes planning.
Oh, it does. just go to
in
Vegas.
Christmas.
Oh, I know.
You know, we're in that stage where there's a lot of
I get it.
things going on. But yes,
it's a quiet celebration.
I finished my treatment. I think it's 4 days before my birthday, so it is a celebratory time always.
Are you a February?
I'm a February.
Are you an Aquarius?
I'm a Pisces.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Finished treatment on 23rd of February.
Okay.
And my birthday's 27th.
Okay.
So yeah, we will celebrate. I will think about it nearer the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Let's talk a little bit then about healthcare. Okay. Your own experience with you mentioned you had private healthcare.
Yeah.
And what I heard is it's very pacey, it's quick, quite efficient with those pieces. So just, overarching, positive medical experience, or were there bits in there?
I really can't fault my medical care. I got diagnosed at a funny time because lockdown happened.
Yeah.
So in terms of obviously speed of getting treat scans and things like that was super fast. Like I say, from the day of finding my swelling under my armpit, 2 weeks later, I knew everything. I'd had the scan to see if it spread. I'd met with my oncologist. I actually did change oncologist at the start, and not even because I met the oncologist I was, told, kind of not told, but referred to, just because I heard that there was an oncologist that was really, really well versed in triple negative.
Okay.
And my sister was obviously going through treatment at the time. She is my Dr. Google. Like, I never had to Google. She is really, really researcher-y. She does it for a living. She kind of looks into things. And a friend recommended this oncologist in triple negative. She looked into it and was like, I really think we should, if you can, go with him. He's the one. So I did do that. And I think that's really important to know. And that's whether you're private or NHS, is that we can move teams. You can request to go to a different hospital if you're not happy. Had I not had insurance, I live in London, I would have 100% asked to be at the Marsden, because living in London, I know what an incredible hospital that is for cancer care. So that's always a good thing to kind of know, is that you can. And I
don't think we do know that sometimes until afterwards, until we've spoken to other people and they say, well, you can actually. Yeah. So anybody listening, if they are at the beginning of their journey, or if they're in a bit of a tricky spot where they don't feel like they're being heard. Or whatever is going on for them, that actually we do have kind of patient right to
and you can and advocating for yourself, it's it's important. So I did find all of that was amazing. As I say, in lockdown, just the key, it was very hit and miss whether I was going to be able to carry on chemo. No one knew what was going on, but I felt like everyone was on my side. And so when I was saying, please, I just want to carry on, and I had a really good response to chemo, which is why it was also you've had a really good response if we can't carry on. But I just wanted to have the whole lot, because in my head I was like, no, I need to have all 16 sessions.
Okay.
And everyone was really pushing for that too. And in terms of my surgery, again, there was all questions over whether I could have immediate reconstruction or not, if it was, depending on lockdown rules at the time. Happened to be in August when things lifted a little bit, so I was still able to do that operation. But again, I just really did feel massively supported by everyone, which I feel very, very grateful for.
Yeah, it's really good to hear, because sometimes everybody has a different experience, and we can't blame anybody or anything about it. It's just so vast and different, and so it's really, sometimes we hear quite a lot of there can be more negative,
experiences. because of my kind of work veering more into this space, I also I co-host support groups within the BRCA community. I feel even more grateful for my experience because, like you say, it's not always the case.
No.
And that is not even whether it's on the NHS. Like, I've heard terrible stories privately too. So, I really had lovely doctors and nurses, and I am incredibly grateful to them all.
Can we talk a little bit about BRCA? Because I think we've shared this before. I think you might have kind of signposted me. So I have a PAL B2 variant, and we have these evolving, or not even evolving. We are more aware of certain genetic, I suppose. What's the word? Like changes, mutations.
Yeah.
Menopause.
No. I also was like, is that the... Because sometimes
Yeah.
people say faulty genes, people say mutations.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure what the correct terminology is, but
Who
I think
knows?
it's mutations.
So we'll say, mutations.
By the way, our BRCA support group is BRCA Plus. We also have people come with PAL B.
Yeah, because I think there are more... That's it. So I'm here. I heard about Check 2 as well. I haven't heard of RAD.
Yeah, there's another one. Which
So
I'm going to forget the number of now. But
yeah, I think it must be tricky from the medical professional standpoint as well, because if it is so fast paced in terms of the discovery of these new kind of mutations and the impact of them, for medical professionals to keep on top of that, we do have to do a lot of our own research.
Yeah, and that is ultimately exactly why I moved oncologists. And I didn't know at the time that moving to who I am under would lead to me then having different treatment. But he was very kind of involved in this study around an immunotherapy drug being used for early stage triple negative breast cancer. And it had just been published, which meant that we could push for it.
Yes.
And I managed to get it. So all the things aligned.
Yeah.
And I ended up having an immunotherapy drug that is now given a lot more widely. But at the time I was starting treatment was like just kind of being talked about.
Yeah.
So he pushed for me to have it. I got this immunotherapy drug. Again, how amazing to be given, especially with triple negative where you can't take anything after your treatment finishes. To have something that increases my chances of it not coming back. It kind of all felt very, very aligned, and I felt very looked after.
Yeah, I am pleased for you because we hear lots about BRCA, and actually, unless we start delving into it, we don't realise the other ones that exist within that pot, right? And to explore. Okay, so let's talk about today. You're well, and how often do you see your team? Do you see your team?
I actually saw my oncologist this week.
Okay.
And that was the first time I had seen him in 6 months. That's the longest we've gone. It feels like a relationship. It kind of does feel like that though. Yeah. And it is very much, and you'll know this too, when active treatment finishes, you feel so cared for. You are having appointments all of the time. And then slowly you finish and it's like, oh, okay, where's everyone gone? Yeah. I'm just gonna deal with everything that's happened now. And so for a while I saw him every 3 months, and he, as I said, I have insurance, so he does like to see his younger triple negative patients, he said, that regularly after treatment finishes because of the higher percentage of it recurring. But then the last time I saw him, he was like, well, it's up to you. Like, do you want to see me in 3 months? Do you want to see me in 6 months? I said, let's try 6 months. And actually it was fine. And then this time around, seeing him, he was like, so again, it's up to me, which is nice. And I just said, okay, let's just do one more time of seeing you in 6 months' time. That will kind of include the 5-year mark, which I kind of just want to reach. I have an ultrasound. I see my breast surgeon once a year for an ultrasound. And I feel like potentially that might be I'm good now. I don't shy away from secondary breast cancer. I don't shy away from knowing what to look out for. Yes. And I really understand why some people do. Why you might not want to think about it, or because you might,
if you don't know,
we're human.
Not,
we all know niggles, headaches, coughs, like, and there is a time when treatment finishes where you're just terrified of everything that you get. Like, even if it's a cough, you've been ill and you've got a cough, it's like, oh, is this going on for too long? I still have those thoughts, but obviously the longer out of it, I am also able to kind of almost internally calm myself with all of that. So yeah, I'm feeling like at a good stage to...
That is great.
Go.
But also because it feels like it sounds like that you are in the driving seat of this, and the relationship's been created whereby you can say, yeah, this works for me.
Yeah.
Or actually I need a little bit more or I don't. And that's such a wonderful space to be in, where it's almost you've got a real connection between the two of you, and an honesty and respect.
I do really feel like that is there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel the same. My experience has been very different, but actually where I'm at now, it's not quite speed dial, but it does feel, and I've had to work at creating that, but it definitely does feel like I have support if I need it. And I have a similar piece. So I speak to my oncologist every 6 months.
Fantastic.
And then I go and see my consultant once a year, just to have a check, because that, as you said, that fear of recurrence, or that fear of, secondaries, is very real.
Yeah.
And we can't get rid of it.
To kind of empower yourself with it almost. Yeah.
Because I definitely went through a stage where, it was last year, I think, and I'd got so in my head. I think I had a back problem, but I was convinced. And I was just checking myself. I think one day I must have checked myself 25, 30 times. And I'm going, this is, I can't sustain this. So, this is taking over we need to have a conversation, and probably need to have a little baseline scan.
Yeah.
Because I think as well, if you've had lots of radiation or lots of scanning, and my team definitely don't like to scan me without a real kind of rationale for it. And so it's just making sure we've gone, right, have we exhausted all other things? Is a scan probably the thing that's going to be helpful?
But at that point, you're you know yourself. You're checking yourself.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Your mind is there.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a bit like that too. I will go from 0 to 100.
Yeah, yeah.
And once I'm at 100, I just need a medical professional
to
see me, to scan me, and to say you're okay.
Yes.
Because I've gone there.
Yes. Yeah, I get it. And also, AI has progressed so much in the last 2 years, let alone in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I didn't have ChatGPT or any kind of co-pilot to go, what should I do? I just think now there's so much information out there to have, and nothing really replaces the, that human reassurance to go, we have physically checked everything, and what we know now is, what we know.
And I kind of say that a lot of the time to people too, if they are worrying. I'm always just push for a scan. Just say you've had a cough that's lasting. Get your ultrasound. Say something's changed with your breast. Have the scan to reassure you if you can, because your mental well-being is so important. And yes, we know our bodies. We know when things change. But if you're really freaking out that something is going on internally, you just need to sometimes have that scan that tells you it's okay.
I agree. But you mentioned about, the mental health side of it, and kind of, I definitely think there's space for support in, helping us manage that, and being able to, because actually, my lumps were all self-found. All of my things were and also there was a lot of mist throughout mine. And so my brain is hardwired to go, if you've got to find it, because nobody else is going to find, so then you become hyper vigilant, and you move off that neutral baseline whereby you are really looking for, then it takes over your life.
Yeah.
And so it's just finding that sweet spot of being able to, I don't know, somebody mentioned survivorship. She was on survivorship programs before, where it's really talking about this stuff, and how do we manage that, and what are our mechanisms, so we don't go 0 to 100, maybe we go 0 to 20.
I know that.
And we go, okay, what's at 20?
How do we do that?
Well, I take that in most areas of life.
To be fair, I feel when I say about 0 to 100, I feel like I'm at 0 for so much of the time.
Okay.
I I don't know. I obviously wouldn't mind going to a lower number than 100. But I feel that living, and I know what it's like to live in that fear space after. I did as well. And a lot of tools and things have helped to kind of get to a bit more of a level thing.
0 to 100
yeah.
daily.
If that was happening all the time, that is really
it's exhausting,
difficult.
right?
Yes.
So, but I also agree. You mentioned about the longer it goes, the easier it is to stay at 0 for a little bit longer.
Yes. And actually, like, it's funny because seeing my oncologist this week, it brings up so much in me. Like, I felt the night before seeing him, I felt vulnerable again. I felt like I was a patient again. I felt, it's almost, in a way, I feel I am at a place where I'm like, oh, maybe it is better to not have that. As much as it's great, just to kind of try it without, because going back to see him, waiting rooms, it's hard, isn't it, that kind of thing, because I'm really grateful I got to see him, but also it reminds me how much healing is needed in certain areas still.
I'm interested about, I know family's really important to you, and I wonder, what the support is like, how they cope with things, how much do you lean into them, how much, you've got kids, you know?
We're really close as a family. Obviously, my sister was going through treatment at the same. We were actually on the same chemo at the same time at one point. She was just phenomenal in terms of daily, like being able to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
I wish that wasn't the case, right? I wish she hadn't had her diagnosis. But the fact that we could have that, we could send each other memes, like have the dark humor, talk about the stuff that no one else wants to really venture towards, was amazing. And then my younger sister, came to so many of my treatments. After my surgery, I moved into my dad's with her and just got so looked after. Everyone was amazing in my family. My husband, just the amount that he had to take on because, not only is his wife going through cancer treatment, then it was lockdown. Our kids were 4 and 6 at the time.
Yes.
He had a business he was trying to, keep going with, and he was making me the most incredible meals. He was giving me these beetroot shots at the time, like, we do crazy things when you're diagnosed. I don't know if you did anything like that. But,
I did.
So I remember he would literally say I had to do a beetroot shot every few hours. I don't actually even know why. But the thing is, we did it for a bit and then lockdown happened halfway through my chemo.
And then you couldn't buy beetroot, you couldn't get anywhere.
Well, I don't even know. But at that point, like, the juicing went out the window. We we went into a different kind of survivor space at that point. It just reminded me about that beetroot phase.
I remember doing something, and it wasn't, it was somewhere I'd read, so I was on my own, so just the kids, but somewhere I'd read before any chemo infusion, and anyone listening, please don't take this as, you got to do your own research about what those things are, right?
Because I don't even know where this beetroot thing came from, right?
Well, I was grasping at straws.
But that's what you do.
And I was so... I was not okay with the idea of chemotherapy at all. I in my head, I just wanted... I wanted to heal myself. I wanted to... alternative therapies, and I absolutely knew that the first recurrence, I was like, okay, we need to do this now. But I'd read somewhere that if you fasted between this point and this point, and we're talking, longer than a person should fast. In my head, I don't have the information to say whether it's a good or bad thing, but in my head I was going, right, well, it's putting all the nutrients towards your vital organs, so they're having to work hard, so then the chemo's protecting those. But I remember something like 24 hours before chemo, don't eat anything at all. You have water, and that was it. And then the chemo, and then I think 12 hours after, or whatever that is, or a little bit longer. And so it's a huge amount of time without eating something. And I remember doing that once, and chemo hit me like a sledgehammer, because I didn't have a baseline of what it would be like if I didn't do that. I probably should have You know, if I could watch myself from afar, I'd go, you need two versions. You need a version where you're not and a version where you are, because you've got no idea if anything's working. I think it lasted once, and then I was like, sod this.
That's
I'm
it.
hungry.
And I think, yeah,
I'm hungry and I
so
feel
much
like
during
shit.
chemo.
So right, I'm just going to eat something. But it is, we don't know, you know.
I've had friends that have done the fasting thing
Yeah.
as well, so I have heard of that. And I think it is really important, right, to say that everyone is going to have something that they think you should be doing.
Absolutely.
And the intentions are really good.
Yeah.
But we find our own way and our
Yeah.
own path. And mine did involve a lot of strawberries and salt and vinegar crisps during chemo.
Nice.
Really
Yeah.
interesting cravings.
But I mean, that's okay. Yeah, that could be worse.
Yeah. And then I definitely didn't have a non-eating moment. I got so big during chemo.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
my surgery was coming after. I needed like
Of
loads of tummy
course.
tissue. So I was like, great.
You're helping. This is medicinal eating. It's fine.
It was good.
I get it. But and I'll echo, you know, what you said. I think you can look at anywhere online, or you could reach anyone who will validate some information
whatever
that
you're
you
doing.
want to.
Yeah.
So it's really important to make sure that, you know, you've considered all of the different things, and we're not advocating for one or t'other.
And actually, funnily enough, I've known people over the years that I've spoken to who were so healthy before their diagnosis that almost getting diagnosed meant they were like, well, clearly it's not being healthy that's done it. So I'm just going to, you know, not be so healthy.
Yes.
Whereas I got diagnosed around the time where I was like probably being quite unhealthy. So on day of diagnosis, I was like, right, well, now I've just got to kickstart this health, you know. So ultimately, we're all just trying to do something that we feel is going to give us a little bit of control in a really uncontrollable time.
Yeah.
And that is what helped me a bit
to
focus on.
I would have these ridiculous green juice smoothies.
Yeah, so did
things.
I.
I think I bought like a Ninja, and I was like, oh, we'll use this.
Yeah.
I don't know, honestly, the colour of them. I think I was using spirulina for some time, and you know.
So I never did that.
No, well, you've. Good.
It's definitely that trying to feel a little bit more empowered, isn't it? And
can I ask around you now versus you before? Like what this is a big question. So, but what's changed in you as a human in terms of who you are?
It's hard, isn't it? Because I feel completely different in many ways. But then at the same time, I think like our essence is always the same. I just am able to access a different lens since cancer. I see the world in a different way. I think I always say like cancer was quite a big teacher for me, and there's 6 kind of pillars of that. So it's gratitude. I don't know if not getting cancer at 37 would have ever given me kind of the like gratitude on steroids, for instance, I feel, and you might agree with me. I think being faced with your own mortality and appreciate and being in a community where so many people are not here still. Every day I'm utterly grateful to be here another day. I play so much more, and by that I just mean like I really feel we are deserving of joy. And it's not that I wasn't playful before my diagnosis, but I think you're just kind of on a treadmill of life a lot of the time, whereas I really like carve out time. I'm like intentional about play and joy, and that I've got a play and a pause tattoo actually. So these are like my life lessons because I've got them imprinted on me. Pausing a lot more as well, and making sure I don't run myself ragged, which I think a lot of us before a health issue can do, right? Like we can be doing, I had young kids, you had young kids, doing everything. We come quite low down on a kind of list of looking after ourselves, and I don't put myself low down on that list anymore, and that's not in a selfish way.
No,
it's
I hear
just
that.
what good am I if I'm not looking after myself, right? To anybody I love. A lot more compassion for myself. I was quite mean to myself before my diagnosis, and I'm not now. And I did have a lot of therapy after surgery, and I had an oncology counsellor who really kind of taught me about compassion, and I realised I've never really been very compassionate to myself. So that's a really big lesson. Body gratitude. I say grateful to my body. I think, you know, putting so much medicine into it that's so intense, and seeing how it kind of showed up for me still, and the surgery I've had, feeling like I've been cut apart and put back together, but yet it still is, you know, doing everything it can to heal and be there for me
and carry you through.
So we've like, I talk about my body as a person, like we're just so much more caring of one another now, I think, which is amazing. And doing things like this, I was so terrified of using my voice before my diagnosis. Oh my goodness. I really, I was doing some things in, like I say, the awareness mummy blogger space at the time with a business my husband had. And I would never have felt like I could share my story. Would never have done some photo shoots. I say yes a lot more. I'm courageous now, I would say. I've really tapped into that courage. I'm a bit like, life is short. I'm going to say yes, even if it's like terrifying. Let's just do some things and live this one precious life that we've got. So yeah, I'm quite different these days.
What an answer. Yeah. But also, I love the fact that you know yourself.
Yeah.
You know those things.
But I think cancer strips a lot away from you. So when you're like, you know, your body's being changed so drastically. I've had my ovaries out. I'm in the menopause. I lost my hair, even though I cold capped. It looked very strange. So all of this like outside exterior stuff about myself that I probably thought was me, or, you know, is stripped away. Yeah. Everything was stripped away. So what was I left with? I had to kind of connect more internally with myself, I think, and do a lot of healing with that. So yeah, I do think I got to know myself a lot more because of cancer. Yeah.
So I know, you do a lot of work within the cancer community space, and I wonder, is there anything that you've learned along the way, in the work that you're doing now and the impact that you're having on other people as well?
Definitely. I would say, so a lot of the work I do is in the space of preparing people for breast surgery. I work for a company that have developed an app called Bloom 43, and ultimately this app is like a prehab and a rehab specifically for breast surgery. I, as I said, loved my team. I felt really supported. I still did ask the question to my breast surgeon ahead of my surgery, is there anything I can do to prepare? And I should caveat this by saying I just had a blood transfusion. Chemo had ruined me. Like, I was not in a very healthy state. And so his answer probably was coming from a space of, you just need to get yourself rested and, not catch COVID, because it was during that time. Yeah. So he said, no, there's not. Now, what I've learned along the way, 3 weeks after my surgery, I met with a local dad who's a plastic surgeon, who's the founder of the company I now do some work for. We've discovered that there's this whole prehab space that is not being utilized, that is actually really powerful, especially for breast surgery, especially for mastectomy surgeries, where you are having a surgery that is leaving you with a really thin skin flap that can lead to complications after. You can prepare yourself, you can prepare your mind, you can prepare physically. There are little things that you can do that I just didn't realize. And so ultimately, by not realizing that, I think I was terrified ahead of my surgery. I was so terrified. I felt really, we're talking about courage. I didn't feel very courageous. I really felt like I was just going in and hoping and praying that I was going to be okay. Yeah. And I didn't really feel like I was educated around it. I hadn't really met anyone that had the surgery. There was no in-person support stuff going on. And we've spoken to a patient group. So the app has been developed with patients' experiences. And I just feel like everything that we're doing there is what I just wish I'd known.
Yeah.
And I've learnt. And I think if I could go back in time, there would be things I would do differently.
Because you're right. We don't talk about prehab. We don't talk about and to your point, I mean, you know, super articulate in the fact that with everything that was going on for you at the time, that was probably an intentional decision to go, just don't get COVID.
Exactly.
Just turn up to where you need to, right?
You don't need to be doing anything crazy movement-wise or nutrition-wise, but there were little things I could have done.
Absolutely.
That
it's that
psychologically would have made me feel like I was doing something.
Yeah. And some people might need that and some people might not.
Yeah.
But actually having the opportunity to go, no, there are things.
Yeah.
You know, because those of us that like information and like to feel in control are still going to like that regardless if we've been hit with the sledgehammer of, you know, medicine and drugs or not. So I think you're right, that prehab space, and not just from a body perspective, actually awareness and the whole mindset around stuff.
It was exactly, there's loads within it about feeling mentally prepared to, and I talk in the app. Actually, there's a video I've done all about how I wrote a letter to my breasts. So even just in terms of my coaching and things like that, just knowing how powerful that can be, just in terms of preparing yourself for saying goodbye to a body part that has been with you for so long. And you know, like I don't know if you felt this, I really kind of thought, I got quite nostalgic about my breasts when I knew they were being...
So I'm slightly smiling because I had a boob party.
Oh, exactly, yes.
I invited like 20 of my mates. I don't have 20 friends, actually, but I think there were quite a few. I think I might have just knocked on people's doors and go, do you
fancy a boob party?
Do you want to celebrate the loss of my breast? But everybody came over and everybody wore a bra on the outside of their t-shirt, and I cooked a massive like dal or some like good wholesome food, and we were all just eating, and it was just like taking photos. My daughter was face painting boobs on people.
Yeah,
it was
exactly,
totally like,
including your kids with that. Like it was, I think that these moments and these times, you're kind of really noticing what is about to happen. You're really kind of taking it on board and you're honouring it, right? There's an honour.
There is definitely something in there, because I think at the time, I don't know if I'd unpacked it to say this is why I'm doing it, because for me, I just wanted to be around people. I think if I'm unpacking it slightly, I was quite isolated and I just wanted to be around people and be efficient in my information sharing and have some fun. Play right, and absolutely underneath and model to my children that you know, with lemons you can make lemonade. But actually underneath that, absolutely there is an honouring of a body part that you're about to, or whatever it is. It's a transition, and how you choose to move through that transition. And mine was very much out loud at the time, which has shifted. But I think why we do it, or the purpose the objective of it can be different for all of us. But actually having that there.
Lots of the women at the BRCA support group have had parties.
Okay.
There's even been like boob funerals. There has been photo shoots.
Yes.
I think it just allows space, and this is the most important actually message I can probably say on this, is it allows space for grief in a way.
You're so right.
Because otherwise you're just going in.
You're so right.
Like, okay, and especially on the cancer pathway, there is a big element of like, just get the cancer out. I just want the cancer out. And you don't really think about the enormity of the body change that you're about to go through. So I think any of these things that people choose to do can really allow space for grief. And my letter definitely allowed space for grief. It was fun. It was nostalgic.
Yes.
But it definitely was like, okay, I'm going to have this body change now. I feel a bit sad about it. These breasts, breastfed my kids, and it kind of means if I have another child, I won't ever be able to breastfeed that child. There was so much grief, and there was gratitude. And I was getting, giving myself a chance of living a long and healthy life. And the "and" is so important in this.
This conversation is has switched something for me.
Oh my goodness!
Genuinely, because I think it's that grief piece, because, you know, and we reflect on our own journeys. But all of the things I did definitely were a way of me moving through grief, although grief looks different for people.
Yeah.
And and I think that's the acceptance that actually one person's grief might be disguised as a whole nother thing, but it doesn't mean that, you know, what that's serving for them is not really helpful.
Absolutely. And
Thank you, because I actually don't think I'd thought about that piece.
Permission to grieve, right?
But the shape that comes in.
Yeah.
That's a moment.
Good.
Thank you.
Aww, I'm pleased.
If you had, well, I was going to say, if you had one piece of advice for somebody, but you've brought a lot of this in, right? You've said, you know, don't be afraid to get a second opinion, or go somewhere else, find somewhere else, and, you know, and take ownership in those spaces. And so whether or not, you know, those are the pieces of advice that you would give someone else, or what would you say to younger Carly, you know, age 36?
Go get BRCA tested.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I would probably say that, what would I say? I would say if you knew how difficult the years ahead are going to be, you're just going to completely freeze and collapse, and, you know, but don't worry, don't freeze and collapse, because actually what's going to come out of that, out of the years that you're going to go through, is going to be brighter and full of so much that you can't even imagine yet. Like, I don't, you know, I know we can't change things, but I wouldn't change it either now. Yeah. I am at that stage of acceptance that this has all had to happen, including my mum and losing her, which is, you know, the biggest grief I've experienced. It's all part of, for me, what I feel I've had to go, you know, I've had to face. And I really like who I am today. So I would say that's a 36-year-old me. Like, you're going to go through a lot, but you're also going to learn so much about yourself. So just know that.
Just a practical piece for anybody listening, because we've spoken about BRCA testing a little bit. Where can people go? What do people need to do if they want to get BRCA tested, you know, genetic counselling on it?
So this is a difficult one, because I actually did go to try and get BRCA tested 3 years before my sister's diagnosis, and I wasn't given it. There wasn't enough young breast and ovarian cancer. They've just trialed a program within the NHS with 2 charities and something called Jewish BRCA, whereby if you have one Jewish grandparent, you could have been tested for free on the NHS. Now that has come to an end, but hopefully moving forwards, they'll still do something there because of the prevalence being so much higher in that community. But anyone, it's 1 in 400 people can carry BRCA. So I would say if you do have a lot of young cancer in your family, speak to your GP and potentially look to get tested, because potentially there is a gene mutation there. I would say if you've been diagnosed with breast or ovarian cancer and you've not been offered it, maybe speak and maybe push to be offered it. And also there are things that you can do, like these DNA, you know. I've never done it, but I think some people I know have found out they carried BRCA through 23andMe. So there are things like that where people do them for a bit of fun to see their ancestry, and then you can find that you carry something that way.
Oh, interesting.
If you're not kind of having any luck on the NHS
hitting the eligibility
with the testing.
And this is something people can access privately at cost, though, right? As well.
Yeah, there are people that do offer it privately, and I just don't know off the top of my head who does. But I know that you've got to be over the age of 18 to even consider being tested.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carly.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for giving up your time. Thank you for talking so openly. I am sorry if I overtalked you, because I got very excited during some parts of your conversation.
I want to hear so much more about your story. Right? Yeah, it was just a conversation. I love that. Don't apologise.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Yeah, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Cups and Courage shares honest, personal stories of people affected by breast cancer. The views you hear are those of the guests and host and don't replace medical advice. If you're concerned about your health, please speak to a doctor or healthcare team. Cups and Courage, the podcast.